What's going on, friends? Logan Myerz here for Cinephellas.com to talk about the brand spanking new film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes, I'm talking about Avengers: Infinity War. It's finally here. Yeah! So it's been 10 years since this all started. It's been 6 years since the first Avengers film was released. Holy shit, Henry and I went to go see this before it was released to the public, and we were blown away by this film. Remember, we went to see it, and we went to Comic-Con right after seeing it and just talked to people about it around the convention. We were so pumped and hyped about this. And this was all leading up to what we have today, Infinity War. And throughout the three phases of the Marvel films, all the build-up, it's finally here, the all-out battle and war. In this film, we have, at the focal point is Thanos. He's finally here, he's looking for the Infinity Stones, and the rest of the Avengers and characters take wind of this, and they have to stop him, because if he finds these, it's the end of the world and we're all dead. For this film, we have all the characters: Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Thor, Captain America, Vision, Scarlet Witch, Guardians. The list goes on and on. There's like 130 characters in this movie. So much wrapped into one film for 2.5 hours. So there's a lot going on, as you can imagine. It's a little mind-blowing. With this film, there's these three groups, basically, different parts working together. It's great to see these characters on screen together for the first time, with the Guardians and the Avengers and them coming together for the first time. And it's just really beautiful and well done. And just, there's a lot of comedy and humor that we see with these characters. And we could see from the trailers of, Thor seeing the Guardians for the first time, and talks of certain characters dying in this film. As you can imagine, them building up to take on the ultimate villain, Thanos himself, played by Josh Brolin, which is really, really well done. This is probably the best villain we've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to date. Like most films in Marvel and DC, they always kind of fail with the villains. The main characters, the superheroes, are always the best, the stand-up performances, and we're left with a lackluster villain, but that's not the case in this film. Thanos is the guy, is the big badass, towering over everyone and just massive. And he does not disappoint in this film. He really is the focal point. He gets a lot of on-screen time, as you can imagine. And that's a good thing, because this character is really well done. And he's such a huge guy. The visual effects, the CGI on this character are really well done. You can kind of see Josh Brolin, but, with the voice and everything. And, with most of the Avengers films, the villain versus the good guys is like, well, we'll beat this. We're the superheroes. It'll come to a happy ending. That's not the case in this film. That's not going to be a happy ending, as you can imagine. With Infinity War, it's all building up to this. All these characters coming together, an all-out battle, trying to defend the world and take on Thanos and stop him once and for all. With so many characters and the storylines, it gets a little choppy because they're throwing so much into this film. With the 2.5 hours, it's impossible to get every backstory. Every character has some dialogue, and we've had all that. We've had that built up in all the rest of films. We don't need a lot of backstory. We just need to understand where the characters are at and what they must do to stop old Uncle Thanos. The battle scenes in this film are awesome and top-notch. Again, the visual effects are astounding. Fight sequences between the good guys versus the bad guys. This movie was shot in IMAX camera, so it's beautifully done, on the big screen in the IMAX theater. As an audience, it really draws you in, and you're just on the edge of your seat the entire time because there's so much going on. But, some of the pros and cons at the same time are the characters, the main superheroes, the Avengers, and you have Ant-Man and Spider-Man and all those other parts that were pretty funny. There's a lot of comedic dialogue in this that made you laugh. There's some parts about Chris Pratt as, Star-Lord, and his weight, and there's a lot of great comedy thrown into this with a darker premise of this all-out battle against Thanos and him trying to find the Infinity Stones. So the Russo brothers do a really good job of throwing some comedy throughout the film. It's not just a straight action movie. There's comedy in the film, and there's some pretty good character dialogue and chemistry that we have with the characters that are meeting for the first time on the big screen. And I really appreciated that. I really loved Thor in this film. Iron Man, not as much. In other films, he was great. This one didn't really stand out as much. Captain America was good. Doctor Strange, a pompous asshole. In the comics, that's how he is. But in this movie, he's more kind of an asshole in certain scenes, which I liked and did not like at the same time. And it was cool to see, with the recent blockbuster hits that broke box office records. We're talking about The guy from Wakanda, Black Panther, he was really good in this film, and not really impressed of how his character turned out towards the end of the film. It was really exciting to see, Black Panther with Captain America, Steve Rogers with his slick back hair and his beard. Oh, he's so dreamy. Seeing him with Black Widow, and these characters actually kind of look different in this movie. They're older, they just have a different look. And Black Widow too, with her blonde hair. Everything they've been through over the years and giving them a new look, a more, I'm not going to say aged look, but just a different look to a darker premise as we have in Infinity War. Everything leading up to this film has done to these characters and what's next for them. But all leading up to the end of the film, was excellent. There's a lot of great battle scenes. The CGI and visual effects were really great. A few choppy parts with Iron Man, like flying and stuff like that. They didn't really finish that scene. Given that there's a lot going on here, the visual effects team may have missed a few things here and there. Just little things I've noticed, but I'm not really going to hate on that or give the movie a negative review just because of some of the visual effects that looked a little sloppy. Seeing a bunch of trailers for this film leading up to the release of the film that's now hitting theaters across the world, analyzed and seeing different things throughout the trailer, following Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. and other characters online, something's going to happen. One of the major characters that we've grown to love are not going to live to see the next film. And that's what was really heart-wrenching and heartbreaking about this film. A lot of the characters don't really make it. I'm not going to say who, because obviously I don't want to spoil it. A lot of you have not seen this film yet. Overall, I love Avengers Infinity War. There was so much on the line with this film, so much built up over the past 10 years, and from the first Avengers movie with the introduction of Thanos and the after-credits scene. You knew he was coming. They've been patiently awaiting for this to happen. And it finally did in this film. The Russo brothers did an excellent job, and kudos to them for putting this film together. So many characters. I can't think of any other movie that has so many characters in one, where you're trying to have some sort of dialogue, some story with all these characters interacting with one another. It's almost impossible without the movie being 6 to 8 hours long. So for the 2.5 hours of this film, they did a damn good job, and I couldn't imagine the level of stress they were going through with the studio to get the final product out and to make everybody happy, and it's almost impossible. So major kudos to the Russo brothers for putting out yet another great film. 3 films that I've done, with Winter Soldier to Civil War to Infinity War, they did a really great job of bringing all these characters to life and taking on the ultimate villain. And really the only cons I had to say about this film is just it's a little choppy. There's a lot going on. There's so many characters wrapped into one. Some of the visual effects weren't the greatest. They're a little choppy and looked like it was unfinished in parts that I noticed, but that's really the only negative comments I can say about this film. Infinity War is definitely a film you have to go check out on theaters, on IMAX. When you have this, Marvel Cinematic Universe, a lot of people, a lot of characters, a lot of superheroes are not going to make it out alive. The ones that didn't really make it out alive, I was questioning that, like how they're going to move forward with other films, but that's for good reason. Somehow going to incorporate that into Avengers 4 and the other films that are going to be coming out. In my opinion, Infinity War is definitely the best film in the universe thus far, with all these characters finally getting introduced to one another and taking on the big bad villain, Thanos. It's a movie that you cannot miss, so definitely go check it out in theaters. I'm giving Avengers Infinity War a 4 out of 5 Thanos pieces. So what do you guys think? Have you guys seen Avengers Infinity War? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What are you looking forward to in the future films in the next phase? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myerz signing out with my good friend Thanos. We're going to take over the world. Until next time, cheese!